Alright, what's going on, y'all? I'm back with another volume for Welcome to the Franchise, Volume 23, Episode 23. Still in the mix here and tapping in with the NBA vibes and seeing some of the games going on. So I got my takes on what I was able to catch up and see. Actually watching a full game for the first time in some weeks. Caught a couple quarters of some other games that came on this week as well. A little bit of highlights and a little bit more of some of the chatter now, that's been going around about the NBA, some players and the All-Star game and All-Star selections and all this other shit that's been going on. So I want to get straight into that and, just talk about what's been going on recently this week with this next volume for Volume 23, Episode 23 of Welcome to the Franchise. So let me get straight into it with y'all. I'm going to start off first with the game that I called last night, which was Houston versus Memphis. And when I seen that the other night, that was gonna be coming on Thursday, I was like, oh shit, I might really gotta watch this one. I had a little bit of time to catch the full game all the way through, and I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be Ja versus Jalen, and you got all the other niggas involved. Jaren Jackson Jr., Şengün in there, and all the other players on both teams that get involved. So I throw on the game and everything. I start watching this shit, and I'm like, something seemed a little bit different or off. Like, the game starting, I'm like, oh, this shit good. Like, it's a good start. They're going back and forth. Good rhythm in the beginning of it. And then I know it. I was like, oh, shit. They did say that Ja was going to be out because of shoulder shoulder soreness or tightness or whatever. And then I seen that. I'm like, yo, where's somebody at? And it's Şengün. Şengün was out for that game also, and usually that's the type of shit that make you want to be like, if you see on that bottom line or you see right before you turn into the game, certain players is not gonna be out there on the floor. You like, fuck this shit. I ain't got time for this. I'm gonna go to sleep, or I'm gonna go out somewhere. I'm gonna do something else and shit. I'm not gonna really, spend all this time to watch this game. But in this case, luckily on both sides, they still had some other players that do numbers and they're exciting to watch. So this was still a good game. I stayed tuned in. I was watching the first couple quarters, the first half, first half, same shit, right? So I was watching the first half and I was like really entertained. I liked the style of play from both teams. Both of them still got, a good core of youth there, some young veterans on the Grizzly side, and then you got these young up-and-comers on Houston side who are still young and early in the game, but they the number 2 seed. They've been doing their thing and shit. And it looked like they got a couple new stars that will be on the come up in years to come. We're already a little bit more familiar with, Memphis squad for the past few years and how they've been chippy and getting at it with some of the other teams in the West in their playoff series before last year when Ja had to sit out the year and they didn't really do shit. But they were entertainment. They were the young guns out there really trying to, knock off some of the older teams or the teams that's always been there and shit in the Warriors teams and the Lakers teams and teams like that. But now they're like the new vets now because they've been playing together for so long. They're still young, but clearly they have a little bit more experience in being able to maintain success throughout the regular season and getting to the playoffs and playing playoff basketball. Whereas this Houston team is new and upcoming. We haven't really heard of the Rockets being in the playoffs in a little while, and it looks like they're going to be able to be a top seed, a top 4 or 5 seed when it's all said and done to be in the playoffs. So this will be their first time. So experience may not all the way be on their side, even though they got a couple vets there. I think they got Jeff Green there as well. And they got Van Fleet, excuse me, Van Fleet, who's also there, and he has he has a championship under his belt, and he's been in the league for a while. But back to the game, this shit was fun to see, man. I see a nigga like Jalen Green who, he takes it on. He takes on the challenge to keep applying pressure every time he gets the ball in his hands and not just trying to cross a nigga up, do a step back, and chuck up a 3. He's attacking the basket or attacking a spot he wants to get to and wants to cross niggas up and put them in a mix for a stop and pop or go to the lane. And he wants to mix you up on all levels to his game and apply pressure to the defense. And that's what I like to see, because now that his 3-point game has also developed a little bit more, it's not like he's only leaning on that shit, but he'll come out and hit a couple threes, give you an odd Jimmy with a couple threes. Also, he has that to his game, and I saw that in his game last night, which was really, really fun to see. Then he had the rest of his dogs with him, and even the bench players. The bench players had a lot of production as well. The Tari Easons came out and put up some numbers and produced. The Amen Thompsons and shit, they came out and produced. I'm pretty sure he was more involved in the starting lineup with Şengün being out, dropping 21 points, had 4 blocks. He was active all over the place. Some other bench players there, Cam Whitmore had a couple nice old baskets or, made some defensive plays. All the type dudes that you're seeing on the supporting cast with Jalen Green on Houston was producing, and you kind of seen their style of play that they want to put on the floor. With a good coach like Ime Udoka, who's getting his second chance now here with Houston after his little crazy situation. But he doing good with them young boys. And from what I was hearing also in the broadcast and shit, I like how they explain how he lets every person on the roster know what their role is going to be, full transparency, and what he expects. Not like other coaches that I see with other teams. And it's like, what is NBA coaching these days in the league? And I see that the teams that are successful, the teams that it looks like they have a system or an identity, you could tell their coaches are like actually holding their players accountable or actually being transparent with them. Like, yo, this is what I need from you. But this is what I also need from this player, that, but not just one player or 2 players, and then that's how we going to do things and shit. So it's cool to see that every player on that Houston Rockets squad, I'm not going to say necessarily knows their role, but they know what numbers they got to hit, what presence they got to provide, and influence they got to provide on the game to make their presence felt and produce results so they can stay as a top seed and really be a team that, niggas could take seriously and shit. So that shit was fun to see. A great thing was also I didn't see them jacking up a whole bunch of fucking threes all the time. There was ball movement. There was people pressuring the paint. Niggas was crashing boards. Niggas was making the extra pass. If they had a 3 that was open, cool. But a lot of niggas was doing the stop and pop shit. A lot of niggas was trying to dribble, get by their man, and do a stop and pop. Motherfucking Dylan Brooks, who I ain't gonna hold you, I thought was a bum, even when he was on Memphis. You know what I'm saying? He had a hell of a game last night as well. A lot of stop and pop for him. Hit a couple threes also, but a lot of stop and pop, trying to draw the foul, going to the lane, all of that shit. Tough and gritty and crafty from all of their plays there. Adams getting in the paint, getting them rebounds, tapping the ball back out. Driving the lane to try and get some points in the paint and shit. Like, that shit is good basketball to see, fun basketball to watch. Not just everybody running around, not looking at the basket when they take 2 steps past the free throw line or a little bit in the paint and trying to run around, pick up their dribble and chuck it to someone who could just chuck up a fucking 3. I didn't see none of that. And then on the other side, Memphis didn't have Ja, but it was no fucking problem. Them motherfuckers was balling. Bane went off. He had a nice game and shit. He was playing the same game inside and out. Take you mid-range, stop and pop. He trying to put pressure in the paint. And, of course, he's still going to take his threes and make some of them. Jaren Jackson, same thing. I've seen him many times. Do the dribble, get by someone, do a little baby hook, at the free throw line or in the paint, or stop and pop mid-range. Still was putting up some of his threes. But, he was showing some of his moves also in the paint and drawing some fouls. Good ball movement with them, too. There's players that you don't hear of, and they was contributing and doing a great job playing their role on end, like Santi Aldama. Santi Aldama knows, what I'm here to do, get a little active on defense just a little bit. My main thing is I'm going to go ahead and leak out as a stretch big and hit my threes. You know what I'm saying? But then if I catch a nigga jumping off one of my threes and shit, I'll take a couple dribbles and try and hit some in the mid-range. That shit is good to see. And then the nigga Wells, the young boy Wells and shit, he had a nice game too, playing his defense, making the right pass, hitting a couple shots, hitting a 3-point shot, going to the lane, trying to draw fouls. And then Scottie Pippen Jr., he had a couple nice little baskets and shit going to the lane also, contributing. I felt like it was the kind of basketball, that you want to see, especially with everyone talking about how the product is, on the court. And when you watch the games, everybody's just chucking 1,000 threes and nobody wants to go to the lane and the fouls is ticky-tack. And this game, I could say, 95% of the game that I seen, the rest was letting them niggas play out there. They was letting them play and go back and forth, back and forth. They showed, I think at one point there was 11 lead changes, but it was a lot of lead changes, but it was a lot of back and forth. And the biggest lead that was had, I think, was by 7 by Houston, 4 by Memphis, a 7-point lead by Houston, and a 4-point lead by Memphis, I think it was. But I like that shit because it's not niggas is just blowing them out by 30 or 20 and shit for like 2-3 quarters, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, you know what I'm saying, niggas come back and now it's a game and shit. Because by then, when you got other shit to do with your life, or you just, your attention span not there, you want to do something else, these niggas blowing them out, it's over. You don't want to watch anymore in the third quarter. And then you look later like, damn, I probably should have watched because now it was crazy in the end. This shit was back and forth and close and competitive from start to fucking finish. All the way down to the last possession, because it ended up being a 1-point game. So that shit is fun to see. It's good to see two teams that are playing with their own identity, their own style, their own kind of brand of basketball on the court, instead of trying to do what everyone else do because of analytics and statistics and all this shit. Like, it's better to shoot more 3-point shots than this. Nah, because you bail the defense out, and it's not fun to watch. You're not putting no pressure on the defense. You're not really showing any skill or creativity to score, get to the basket, or embarrass your opponent and score in his face. Niggas like to see that shit too. That shit is entertaining. The 3-point shot is entertaining as well. But it's like everybody on the squad besides the center or one person, you know what I'm saying, not shooting the 3, and they just running around in circles all day, getting rebounds to chuck it back out for a 3, or just running around in circles till they can find someone open to pass around just for a 3. That shit gets boring after a while. But I really didn't see any of that in this game with Memphis and Houston. That shit was mad fun to watch, and it was lit. And a lot of names, you know what I'm saying, that you probably wouldn't usually just think off the top of your head was playing a great game, all around, besides the key players like the Baines and Jared Jacksons and the Jalen Greens and Amen Thompsons or whatever. I guess that's a name. His name is getting popular a bit more too. But you see the Van Fleets getting involved, the Tari Easons, Deshaun Tate, Ken Whitmore's getting involved. I think his name is Anthony Wells. I know his last name is Wells, number 0 on the Grizzlies. I seen him for the first time play last night, and he looks pretty impressive. The Santi Aldamas, Scottie Pippen Jr.'s, and then this dude LaRavia also, he was getting active involved. I'm not saying he dropped some crazy points and shit, but he had a crazy entertaining bank shot for 3 at the buzzer on the shot clock, But you seen him getting active a little bit on both sides of the court, offense and defense and everything, and you're like, damn, like these niggas got some players here. They got some motherfuckers that really want to play. And then and Luke Kennard, who was a lottery pick for Detroit, I think bounced around a little bit in the league, right? Luke Kennard went off from 3. That motherfucker had the ratchet from 3 all night. And he had a great game, and that shit was fun to watch because he knew his role. Like, now that's the NBA that we do, like to watch and see that resonates a little bit better, because he knows he's a sharpshooter. Like, there was always a player that's like, nah, this is what I do. I just shoot 3s, my nigga. I shoot 3s, and then if they know I'm a sharpshooter from 3, my job is to do a pump fake, catch him off the dribble a little bit, and take a long 2 or stop and pop 2 somewhere. But other than that, just what I do. I shoot fucking 3s. Not everybody like, I shoot 3s because the analytics say and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it get boring after a while. And another game that I want to talk about to piggyback off of that is the Knicks and the Nuggets game, where I seen the same thing. And seeing how the Nuggets play, we could tell that they're a good system and team basketball, franchise and everything with the product they put out on the floor. So it's not like you're always going to see a bunch of jacking up 3s. They really play off of each other and off of their momentum and energy off of each other, which is good. They've been playing with each other for a long time. But you're not going to see them always trying to run around and jack up 3s. Do they shoot 3s? Do they make a lot of 3s still? Yes, they do. Jokers can make the 3. Michael Porter Jr. can make the 3. When he's hot, Jamal Murray can make the 3. When he's hot, Aaron Gordon can make the 3. When he's having a nice little night and feeling it, getting lucky, Christian Brown can hit the 3, all that shit. But them niggas play in a system, all play together. They make cuts. They want to get to the basket. They want to play defense. They want to make hustle plays. You know what I'm saying? They want to make cuts to the basket, all that shit. But the Knicks, who I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't really watch one game from them all season yet. And from what I saw and shit, because they said, well, with Cat now and with Bridges now and shit, they probably gonna shoot at the three more. And they always been talking about it. The Knicks just need more 3-point shooting, more 3-point shooting, more 3-point shooting. Well, they got players that can make the three, but when I was watching it, these motherfuckers was taking it to the paint. They were taking it to the paint. They were doing stop and pop, mid-range. They was taking it to the paint, kicking it out for a mid-range jumper. They had their three open looks when they had them and made them. Brunson and Cat went off. They did their thing. Bridges did his thing, playing his role. You got to hit them nice mid-range shots, play some defense, stay active. Same thing with Ajinobi. You know, he going to go to the lane. He going to, you know what I'm saying, play some defense, get his rebounds, hit his mid-range, and then hit his threes. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was good to watch also, where they have their own style and their identity. It didn't look exactly like Memphis or Houston's game. It didn't really look anything like Denver's game. They had their own style and their own brand to how they play the game on the court. And that's the thing that, you know, the game was kind of missing, I guess we could say, for right now with this 3-point happy shit and everything, for a little moment, or why people are saying, hey, you know what I'm saying, we don't like the style of basketball being played, or we don't like the product we're seeing. It's because, you know, you didn't really have a lot of teams that had their own style and their own brand to play. But now it's starting to look like that a little bit. And you know what I'm saying? It's good to see. It's good to see, and it's fun to watch. It's good for the product. You feel me? So I do want to point out with being able to see a good amount of both of those games, because I think I caught about 2.5 quarters of the Knicks Nuggets game, and I saw the whole Memphis Houston game. They got me, because I said, all right, after the middle of the third quarter, I'm out. I'm gonna go to sleep, whatever. Saying get ready for next day, all that shit. But how that third quarter went also, and it was that entertaining, I said, fuck that. I gotta see this whole shit now. Now I gotta see this shit through. And I'm glad I did, because it was a crazy ending, and one of the refs tried to fuck the shit up. And, you know, I'm not gonna put it on some, like, you know, like refs in all sports do, like, oh, they was trying to fuck the shit up. And I think this was a little bit of a mistake. Got caught slipping in a muscle memory, natural reflexes, that after the possession, they, like most coaches would call a timeout and everything, and he blew the whistle. But if you check back at the highlight, anyone out there, or if you watch the game, the ref signaled like the coach for the Grizzlies called a timeout. He didn't. He was telling his guy, Wells, go, you got open lane, which he did, and he had to slam to take the lead. It's a good thing it didn't fuck up the game for them, because they still had a chance to keep the ball, keep the possession, but they had to take it out. Like, they did call a timeout. They still scored anyway. They ended up winning the game by 1. And another thing on that real quick, how that game ended on Houston's side, I get it. Jalen Green was looking gassed and looking tired. His lower body was looking a little tired there, because he was trying to do a lot in that fourth quarter. A few possessions that didn't really go for him. I felt that he should have maybe, you know, put the attention on him while getting his teammates involved if he was that tired, to take the pressure off himself and get some scoring somewhere else. But then I seen in the last few possessions, it seemed like the last 3 possessions, even when Ime Udoka called a timeout, they wanted to lean on Van Fleet. And I'm like, nah, not the guy for that right now. This is an intense game. It's been going back and forth. It's high energy and shit. Somebody else, at least get the ball in fucking Amen Thompson's hands, or someone else that they're not looking for. Tari Easton it looked like he's kind of warming up and shit at that point in the game, or maybe someone they're not looking for that could still try and get a bucket or be aggressive to get a bucket, and Ken Whitmore, or do a pick and roll and just dish it out to Adams if you want the ball in Van Fleet's hand. But they did 2 plays for Van Fleet where he chucked up some bullshit threes and fucking missed, and then that last possession also, I'm like, nah, bro, I get it. Jalen Green's tired, but put the ball in his hands. If you don't, put it in Amen, who's going to do some athletic shit, or do something like he did the other night. He's going to try and go to the lane, step back, mid-range, at the buzzer like he did against the Celtics. But you put it in Van Fleet's hands. I'm sorry, with that play that they had and then the height that they had on him with the pick and roll switch, not my favorite type of play call there, or my favorite player to have the game in their hands in a game like this. You know what I'm saying? But I'll just leave it at that there. Now, I know I was talking about both of these games, and the Knicks and the Nuggets game, having their own brand and their style, which helps for, more watchable and more exciting product to see from all teams throughout the league. But I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna piggyback off of that and going into like, I guess the ratings, or how the game could get better, and also just tap back in a little bit of with this All-Star shit, right? So the All-Star snubs, right? We're gonna talk about that real quick again. One of the other players I wasn't able to remember or get to with the video I put out yesterday, right, was Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis from the Kings, who I feel like he has a good year every year, and now getting better with him adding the 3-ball to his game, and he's been hitting some of those, and he's still doing numbers. He probably could have been in there. We already spoke about Powell. It will be cool to see him in it with the year that he's having. I don't think it's a real big hands up in the air that he didn't make it and shit. Sometimes niggas just have really, really good seasons, and they not supposed to be an all-star, like I feel about some players in the current all-star team this year and last year or whatever. And I just think that, Jalen Green, Jalen Green probably should have been in that shit. Jalen Green, I seen last night, he's playing phenomenal. Like, he's really ready to take on the challenge of putting pressure on niggas and be like, nah, fuck that. I'm the scorer. I'm gonna put you in the mix from every level, from lane to mid-range to step back to 3-ball. And he was fun and entertaining and exciting to see. Those are the players we want to see in the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even Dev Booker. Dev Booker is still exciting to see. I haven't caught a Suns game really at all this year. But niggas are saying he's still been doing numbers, and he will be fun to see. And then on the East side, once again, Trae Young. I know his game last night, pedestrian numbers, but still a leader in assists. Niggas still want to see some highlight reel plays and assists. Still could shoot the 3-ball. Still, that nigga with the highlights can make plays, can get busy and shit. So you're going to have him in there. You're going to have him out of there over Darius Garland, who's still having an amazing season. I get it. Number 1 seed, best team in the East. Cool, whatever. Coaches votes, all that shit. But no LaMelo. All right, fine. He missed some games, didn't play enough. But when he was healthy, before he got hurt, he was going crazy with assists, threes, scoring, rebounds, highlight reels, all that shit. Like, we want to see entertaining shit. It's not just about your PER and just because, your team has the best record or a more winning record. Because if that's the case, then Steph shouldn't be an all-star, which we're going to get to that right quick. But we know Steph is an all-star. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to have Melo in that shit. Especially with the buzz going around with off the court, with his brother and everything like too. You think you don't want to bring that? You think that can't help bringing that presence, that energy, and that vibe around that weekend with the ratings and the interest, and especially all this bullshit they doing with the NBA All-Star Game that niggas is not interested in? You don't think that could kind of add a little element to help you there, Adam Silver? Nah? All right, then. Cool. That's why you in charge right now. The product is fucking failing. So no LaMelo, then no Tyrese Maxey, who I get it. He missed games too. His team is ass. But when he was healthy and him coming back, he came back going crazy and he missed a beat. And he's fun to watch. That motherfucker, he'll cross you up and step back and hit a 3, give you an eye jamming from deep. Cross you up, stop and pop, all that shit, and go to the lane and draw fouls. He got so much energy and shit too, and he's always on the move with the ball in his hands and shit. Like, you can't really hold him. That's fun to watch. So no Tyrese Maxey, I bet. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, shit, like the West, looking at it again, once I got another chance to look at the full roster with the reserves, the West reserves is all valid, actually. It's all valid. I would valid it and make it valid-ish, because I ain't gonna hold you. I could go without James Harden and Anthony Davis, because I know what they're gonna do in this All-Star game. They're gonna want to not play or not take the minutes, or they're just gonna bullshit around, not want to do too much. Give them 2 slots to niggas we actually want to see. You could have probably gave them 2 slots to Jalen Green and Sabonis. You know what I'm saying? And then on the East, kind of hard argument to take Garland out of it. You know what I'm saying? But I would rather see Trae Young there. I'm not saying to be a starter, But I'd rather see LaMelo as the starter there with Brunson, you know what I'm saying, in that backcourt. And then maybe even, I mean, shit, what's going on with Jaylen Brown? Watch it. Jaylen Brown still gets buckets. He's still producing, doing his thing and shit. Came off an MVP last year, championship and all that. Like, he's still putting numbers, but I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Boston games like that either this year. You know what I'm saying? But maybe he got hurt. Maybe he ain't played enough games. I don't know, but come on, son. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. What is Spicy P gonna do for me that's gonna make it really, really exciting? Yes, he's great. He's good. And that's one of those, he should be one of those players in like the Powell shit right now. Like, yeah, you're putting up numbers, you're producing, you're efficient, you're doing great. Sometimes you're just having a really, really great season. You're a great basketball player in the NBA, but you're just not an all-star. You know who that used to happen to for a long-ass time? Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was nice and consistent and efficient for a long, long time, and I think he only made one All-Star game. But you know who we had fun really watching and shit, going to the All-Star game, was the nigga he got traded for that was involved in the same trade. White Chocolate, Jason Williams. Who I think is like a 2-time or a 3-time All-Star. You think niggas are gonna be like, oh, he a Hall of Famer, you look up his career numbers, it's gonna be something crazy? No. You know what I'm saying? But it was fun to watch him in the All-Star game in those couple years that he did put up those numbers, get him in there. You know what I'm saying? We didn't want to see Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was pretty nice, but he wasn't doing all of that at the time for a little second. He could shoot, he's efficient, nice player, could run an offense, be a floor general. But that nigga wasn't making Showtime happen with them Kings like that and shit and all that, you know? I don't know. And that's another thing too. I want to really know what I know the new definition of what an all-star is more recently and shit, right? But what's the definition to the fans or to the people that really love like the entertainment side of basketball, the entertainment side of the All-Star weekend? What's really an all-star to y'all in y'all definition besides just the numbers and the statistics and the player efficiency rating and you have a winning record and, you know, you're good, you make all the right plays and the good plays and this, that, and that, and you're good at the pick and roll and the pick and pop and, you know what I'm saying? What's the definition of an all-star that you want to see as entertainment for All-Star weekend? Because it's not just the game and the players in the roster. It goes down to all the other events too. Like, is an all-star a nigga from the G League that we don't fucking know in the dunk contest? You know what I'm saying? It's like we only know him for this weekend. After this weekend is over, we forget what he's even doing. We don't know. You see him on probably a fucking IG clip or some shit, practicing dunks for whatever. But you know what I'm saying? So what really is an all-star? You know, and I get it. It's coaches' vote, winning records and all that shit. And I'll get to, they say, you know what I'm saying? Is Steph Curry technically an all-star then? Because I think that team is one below being the play-in, but I get it. The West is so stacked and crowded that it's like 6 teams or some shit like that that's all tied for the 8th spot or some shit like that, something crazy like that. So I get that. But, you know, Perk tried to say, I just heard that he said Steph shouldn't be an all-star. So in that case, is he kind of right about that? Is he kind of right? And yeah, he's exciting. He's still exciting and fun to watch and everything like that or whatever. But does he kind of have a point there then? Because the Warriors are not that impressive to watch right now. We're only watching now still because of Steph, and it's not like he's always doing amazing shit every night like he was earlier in his career and shit. But we're just watching to see him still compete and see if he could drag this team at least to the playoffs again. You know what I'm saying? Keep shit interesting in that aspect. As an all-star and shit, is he even gonna want to participate in the way that he has in previous all-star games like that and shit to that level and that degree? He probably will because he knows he's one of the faces of the league. He has to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and that's the other thing. It's the old guard now. You know, the old guard of the league and shit kind of phasing out. You know, the old faces of the league that they still want to keep as the faces of the league also for I guess this last year or last couple years and the, you know, making you watch Steph versus LeBron a lot, put it on primetime, you know, games, primetime TV with the Warriors versus the Lakers, and then, still talking about Kevin Durant and nigga hasn't even played a game, but you're still talking about shit around Joel Embiid, and if Giannis is gonna stay with the Bucks, you got Dame there with him also and shit like that. These were faces of the league at some point, but now it's kind of time to phase that out. And do people still really want to watch them, and are their teams still even watchable? Like, I think all those niggas you still want to watch, but it's also their teams around them competing. Are they watchable? You know what I'm saying? So you got that factor in there. And then with this, back to this All-Star shit, you splitting now. I thought it was just gonna be like the younger cats, younger niggas and shit playing like this. You know what I'm saying? That was splitting up to 4 teams like that. And it's all of them. It's even the East versus West shit. Splitting the players up into 3 teams, 8 players a team or some shit. And there's a Rising Stars team that competes, or a G League team. What the fuck is this shit? What is this shit? What is this shit? And this is what you're trying to do to improve the product, or improve the All-Star game, or improve the league. I'm confused, yo. Like, this shit, I ain't gonna hold you. Don't nobody want to see that shit. Don't nobody want to see no fucking weekend tournament style All-Star game and shit. So now I gotta watch 4 or 5 games and shit, or whatever, 3 games, and then when the games be over and they finish quick and niggas don't really care, and you feel it's like a you know what I'm saying? It's like an empty meal. Like, yeah, I ate that shit was good, but it was an empty meal and shit. Like, it wasn't nothing. It's cotton candy entertainment. Yeah, it might be sweet. My favorite plays in there, this, that, but that shit ain't gonna get me forward where the real shit at. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna watch 3 or 4 teams compete to what? Play till 21 or play till 50 or some dumb shit like that. And then the all the teams, now the other players on the other teams, they're not playing no more because, they don't want to play. Nobody wants to play the fucking All-Star game anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then, so now all those players sit, the ones that lost, now you don't see them. Now it's just the 2 teams left with the 16 players and shit or whatever. Like, what the fuck is that shit, man? And maybe I could be wrong. And I would usually tune out, but I started last year was the first All-Star game I watched in a long time, just to be like, maybe I'm wrong on this. Let me see how it really does go. And I ain't gonna hold you. I was kind of entertained. It wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Have I seen better? Have I enjoyed others more? Hell yeah. But it really wasn't that bad. So I am gonna make the effort to watch this shit and see how this shit go. This shit might fuck around and surprise me. It might surprise everybody. It might actually be motherfucking fun to watch. We might see some more competitive energy, more tenacity and competition in these games, since it's all broken down now into different teams and who's really gonna win the tournament, if they actually really care. And it's really best on best, not fucking pick and rolling all day and pick and popping for threes all day and shit. It's really like, nah. My 5-on-5 versus your 5-on-5, 3 subs, that's it. We about to bust y'all ass. If I see some shit like that throughout all these games, you know what I'm saying? Hey, then I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong. That would be cool. That would be dope. But let's fucking see. And I'm still the mindset that even in this shit, they should all wear their own jerseys. That shit will be fly as fuck, especially in the tournament style. Like, all of that shit. And then motherfuckers that may not, is probably watching games with their girl or family, and they girl or family members or whatever, probably don't know who's who and shit. They're like, damn, who's that? They play for so-and-so, I'm gonna have to watch them now. They still gotta do that for them too, instead of having them in these crazy ass, goofy ass uniforms. But I could be wrong there too. They might fuck around and come up with some hot shit this shit. They might fuck around and do that shit. But also I want to go back to Adam Silver, his ideas, piggybacking off of that for improving the league. He said 10-minute quarters and shit like that. Okay, cool. And I seen something in the comments too out there. Somebody had an idea that sounded kind of good to me. When a nigga was like, yo, maybe they should move starting the season to January. You know what I'm saying? Right after the NFL playoffs, or right around when the NFL players are in the 2nd or 3rd round or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That way basketball can go on through the summer. And then it's like, yeah, we got some entertainment, and then you gotta watch this shit because there's nothing else on, or it's gonna be mad fun. On top of the fact that, let's be real, so let's say you have your All-Star weekend in the middle of the summer. Anywhere you go, niggas is gonna be like, all right, fuck it, I'll go. I want to go and shit, because for the most part, it's gonna be warm in all the cities of the country. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas was talking about that Indiana shit, like, nah, fuck that shit. I don't want to. Utah shit, nah, it's too fucking cold. Minnesota shit, nah. You know what I'm saying? So if a nigga got an excuse, a player, that shit is in Minnesota? Word? In the winter? Nah, I'm good. My knee hurt. I'm all right. I'm gonna take this vacation somewhere in Cabo or some shit. Like, I'll go to Miami or go to Hollywood or some shit just to do whatever the fuck and fuck off. You know what I'm saying? So that wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe just getting some more eyes on these players that everybody doesn't know, but they're good, and they're on the way to being very good, and some of them are on the way to being stars, and some of them might be on the way to being superstars. You know what I'm saying? Get more eyes on them on those primetime television slots and shit. You know what I'm saying? So we could see some more OKCs. You know what I'm saying? We could see more of those players like that. Maybe even see some more of the Charlottes, but playing a good matchup. Don't try and force it in a way where it's like Charlotte, but they're going to be versus the Wizards. Nobody want to see that shit, man. Or Charlotte, but they're going to be playing Detroit. Even though Detroit is coming up a little bit this year. They haven't, they're doing a couple little things, but it's like, when it's Charlotte versus the Lakers, or, you know what I'm saying, if it's like Houston like that, like Houston versus Memphis and shit like that, or like a Houston, if there's a match like Houston versus Orlando and shit, like put that shit on in a good TV slot, Let us see who the fuck is who, and see, even though Orlando probably got like 3 players that you're able to want to pay attention to. The rest of them niggas, I don't even know what the fuck they do on the team. I really don't know what the fuck they really do. And when you look at a stat line from an Orlando game, besides the Wagner brothers, Banchero popping out, maybe occasionally here and there Suggs. What the fuck them niggas? Niggas would just be scoring 2 points, 4 points here and there. Who the fuck does anything? Who does anything out there? Who's the sharpshooter? Who's the 3-point? Who's the high-flying dunker that come off the bench with 12 points and maybe 1 3? I don't see none of that shit in them stat lines or the highlights, but that was kind of a bad example. But still, just a little example for inspiration on that, a little thought. And they're still trying to, like I said, I touched on it a little bit, still trying to put on the old guard, the old faces of the league, which is still cool also. We want to watch those players, but right now, sometimes it seems like the product or the team is not as watchable all the time, or, I don't know, but they got to switch that up. We want to see some more of the Jalen Greens in a primetime TV spot. Want to see more of the Jazz on a primetime TV spot. But who really got to get their shit together and fucked up right now, or maybe their team and how they're running him fucked up right now, is Zion. We want to fucking see Zion. We want to see that. We want to see that nigga fucking ball. Because I just seen the clip. I think it was yesterday or this week. I know it's very recent. Maybe it's old. I don't know. But I seen it today or yesterday. The nigga said, I want to play back-to-backs. But the Pelicans, I work for the Pelicans. So I'm like, somebody playing fucking games. Whoever the fuck it is, they need to get their shit together. If it's between Zion, the Pelicans, the coaches, the staff, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But we want to see this motherfucker play, because this shit is fucked up. It's must-see TV. And if the Pelicans don't want to do right and they're losing, they're gonna blow everything up any fucking way. Then get him to a fucking team that we watch right now, or that we want to fucking watch. Because we want to see this shit. Otherwise, it's fucked up. We put that nigga on TV, son. Please. So that's all I got to say on that, though, to wrap everything up. Just like I said, some more time to tap into some NBA, so it's fun to watch some of these games, have some of these thoughts, these takes and ideas, and seeing more of the storylines that's coming out of it also. With the quick little pause in between when the Super Bowl is being played, which I'm still going to come back with some videos when I can about another, some more takes about the preview leading up to the Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, and still trying to stay in tune and tapped in with this NBA talk and everything like that, and the NBA vibes, and who's nice, who's doing their thing, who not, who we want to see do their thing. And I'll try and tap back in with another volume, another video with that. But for now, it's going to wrap this volume 23, episode 23 up of Welcome to the Franchise. Y'all out there, be easy.